for it. Let me know whenever you're. Just go 3, 2, 1, and that's it.
We're recording, buddy.
Oh, what's up, dude? How you been, Jesse?
Sey Montes, DJ Sey. How the hell are you,
brother? Pretty good, man. Just trying to stay alive, actually. You know how things been crazy, things get out of hand, and it's like, oh. But I noticed that you wanted to have this interview, and you wanted to talk about the wedding aspect of this business and what's going on with the virus and stuff. And it's really crazy, to be honest with you, because I'm in that business where people get together more than 10. So
let's talk about the business that you're in. So what is it exactly that you do?
Oh, well, what I do is I do weddings for a living, and I'm a DJ, and I'm a Central Coast DJ, and we started this me and my brother about 8 years ago. But we always did music before that. So it's one of those things that you have a hobby and then you ended up making it do what you love. It comes to, if you're lucky enough to do that. Some people are not. Some people are stuck doing stuff they don't have to because they don't have to support a family, or maybe they do it on the side, but they don't make money. At my point, I went all in and started investing all my money and equipment and advertising, and starting from simple stuff from business cards, because I started DJing when there was CDs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was no computer. You literally would bring a CD case, you open it up, big wallet size. Here's my country. Here's my rock. So when I went all in, I knew that every 3 to 4 years, something in the business has to change. Either you upgrade, or you have to have uplights now, because a lot of brides want uplights, or you have to have a photo booth. You know what I mean? It all changes. So doing this business and this epidemic happening, it really took a tone, because I started getting cancellations, as in not really cancel. They were going to cancel the wedding. They were just going to postpone for next year. Slow me down, dude. Stop me when you want, because if you have more questions. But this is kind of like to stay busy and not kind of like to get depressed about it. It's just I do music. My hobby is music. I'm on Twitch under Sey Music, DJ Sey Music. So I still have to keep up what's going on in the world with the new music. It's still coming out. They just don't advertise it like they usually are, because the media is drowning the pandemic. You know what I mean? Is the virus. It just, there's no one going out, no concerts. They're closing down again. So here we go again to start from the beginning of everyone staying in. I think slowly, I hate to say this, people are just going to get it, because some people that stay in, they go visit other people at other houses, and they come back home and they think they're going to be okay, and they actually spread it. And they just said that on the news today. And I'm like, that's how it's going to be. We're going to have the wave has to come through every town and everything until it goes away, and we see what we're going to do. But in my business, it takes a tone, because that's what I do. I go do weddings that are 150 people, 200 people. And some weddings, they want to be rock. Some weddings, they just want to intimate and just kick back and nothing going on, just main family members. This time is going to get cut down to like 30 people a wedding. Some venues will not let you have no more than 30 people.
But
and some brides and grooms,
even when it's like
saying,
30, even when it's like 30 people, like people
right,
stand up and dance and have a good time.
Right.
And when they're out there dancing, they're breathing heavy, and so they're exhaling. It's like, it's going against like everything that we're being told not to do right now. So yeah, man. And that was an earful. So just to catch people up, like, you were a lifelong music fan. You always had a gang of CDs, a gang of tapes, and then you and your brother
work at the warehouse for 20 years, you know. So it's like, I know my music. I'm not a crazy mixer, but I can mix it up. You know what I mean? It's just getting the party going. It's really your personality. If you're really good on the mic and you can play good music, everything else you can put together, from the grand entrance to rocking the house. You can tell the bride and groom. You learn what to do when time goes on, when you do it so much. You kind of have to set the bar up for yourself. Like, bride and groom, time I'm going to ask this question because I forgot. They're asking me, my next bride and groom, I'm gonna have those lined up in these questions, even from the first dance. Do you want the whole song to be played? Just simple stuff like that will make a difference on the job you do. But when this virus, doing this coming up wedding, the first one I'm doing in August 15, it's going to be like, you're gonna have your mic, it's gonna have a cover. I'm gonna wear a mask if I feel, talking to the bride and groom. everybody's so far cool with it. It's just those first steps to get used to it. When it does open up a little, I had cancellations. That I had one like last week canceled, next week canceled, August 8 got canceled, the 15th is my first one. If that gets canceled, I won't get another one until maybe the first weekend of September. So it's like I'm seeing the news. So there's like, to keep not going insane, I go to my music, I start getting things together, focusing on other stuff, to be safe, to clean my equipment, to have this ready, to wear gloves sometimes, to set up with a different mask because you will sweat if you use your own. Just little things to look professional. All the other vendors have to wear masks. That's a gimme. But reality is there is no penal code that you supposed to wear a mask. So a lot of people are pretty smart about it. If they're in certain places, go, hey, you can call the cops, but the cops, if you're a smart person, you say, hey man, where's the penal code? What trouble did I do? What did I do wrong? Well, there's no penal code for it. So why am I in trouble? So they have to make this law, or everyone has to vote on it. Hey, you have to wear a mask. That's
Yeah,
going to be the
yeah.
challenge. I think I'm doing this business. It's like, who's going to wear a mask? Because grandpa and grandma can't come in. So I told my brother, I got this great idea. Look, why don't we start a business, and I'm probably going to start charging $1,500, $2,000, where we have the screen in 4 squares, and we have the ceremony, and anyone over the world can see the wedding. Grandparents that live in Europe, because that's the business I do. All the weddings I do, people travel to get here because it's a destination weddings. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're like in Bakersfield. I hate to bring this up, where people live around there and and getting married. No, every
Slow down, say we're having
person do
some audio.
Turkey. So many other people. Let me say, who came to? Oh, you got me now, or
Yeah,
can you
yeah,
hear me
you're
now?
cool.
Okay, so all the weddings that I do, it's really interesting because it's like I go home and say, "Where are you from?" Turkey. So I get the traditional music plus what band is out at that time, a couple of songs, and I don't know what they're saying. I always tell the bride and groom, I'm being honest, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm gonna put the top songs of your traditional stuff. When I
That's
do stuff
cool.
like that and you go out of your way, it's just a dude. It was such a ball. I had the bride and groom on top of a chair and it's right on the, basically it's a resort there on the beach, and she just give everyone shots while they're coming, they're on top of the chair. It's about having fun. Those things won't happen that much no more. It was going to take time for that to start happening again. It's really distance, talking on the mic, being clean, sanitizing your hands. It's just worrying that someone get sick, and you don't want to be the one that get sick, and you don't want to be the one to get somebody sick as well. But it's interesting, sometimes when I go to stores, I also feel like, hey, you're not wearing a mask, you're not wearing a mask. I get it, you can't really get in trouble because there's no penal code. You can't, what they're going to do now, the rules of the stores, they can kick you out. That's just about it. So basically that's it. So it's like, I don't think people are going to listen, and I think a lot of people are just going to get sick in the next month or two. And it's sad to say that some of them, they have they diabetic or whatever that you are, and you get sick. I just would hate, it's just going to hurt me myself. I only knew one person, not close, just in the business, that got sick. But none of, like, my brothers, thank God, none of the friends that I know haven't got sick yet.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know about you, if you haven't dealt with anyone that in this epidemic, that someone got sick that you know of.
Mhm.
But it's interesting because I live day by day now. Like today, I basically did the normal stuff on Tuesday, do my laundry, whatever. After I hang up here with you, I'm gonna do some music and look up what's new, because I do a lot of videos, and I also be like looking up videos, and then I go to an older video. Like right now, as we're talking, Mike is texting me and he's sending me videos of Wicked Games by a guy. I don't know if you heard
Chris
Wicked
Isaacs.
Game. You know how
Chris,
Isaac.
Chris
Yeah,
Isaac.
but there's another artist called him. Yeah, it's Crazy Isaac, but another artist called him. He does it too. So it's like
Oh,
I get friends texting me, and we're always talking back to each other. Cover a Depeche Mode song or something like that. It always keeps me going, get my mind away from all this, disease, I guess you would say.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's
besides that, the business is not going down for us right now, because we still get deposits because those people are booking for next year. But that's the bad thing, it's just next year. I'm trying to, I always, if I didn't have a wedding on a Friday, I would go do a club or do a bar here and there once in a while. You can't even do that no more. Places that go hang out, you just cut, stop. and you kind of don't want to go because you don't want to get sick. Because if I would gotten sick of one of these things, my weddings are next weekend. This thing takes like 3 days. You get it, and 14 days you have to be quarantined. There's no way, dude. There's just no way I'm gonna make it. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
So you just got to stay in. Yeah, that's the smart
You
thing
got
to
to
do.
stay in. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
I'm only going out to the grocery store like twice a
Right,
week, and just
right,
everything else
right.
is just staying in and just waiting this thing out, because
Uh,
like I'm not diabetic, I don't have hypertension, but like I am
right,
overweight, so like I have
right,
that, but other than that, like I'm really just working on staying healthy myself,
right,
drinking a gallon of water every day, and like no booze,
right.
no nothing, just chilling. Hey, Say, you remember when we very first started hanging out, and we would go to your house and play pool after work,
Yes,
and
yes, I
how
do.
your brother had that explain how your brother had it rigged up, and like I didn't
Yeah,
even
he
know that
had.
he was DJ. I just thought
I
you had a badass radio station.
Yeah, what it was is that somehow I got hold of a pool table. We put it in my mom's garage inside, and I just started adding stuff. So we got a house speaker kind of. We got the wire all the way going outside through the roof, all the way through the front house, and he's mixing it up there on vinyl. And that was his start of playing in front of people. And sometimes it's like you're gonna mess up. That's okay. I always told him just catch the beat, listen to the beat. Now remember, these are records, and it wasn't like you have now where you can see the beat. They call serato when you play music. You can see the beat coming. Here you didn't see it. You have to hear it to put the beat together. And all our friends, we grabbed some beer and we played some pool, had a great time. And my brother started doing
How old was
really
your brother
well.
at that? How old was your brother
I,
at that point?
I think he was around between 16, 17. He was pretty young. And I think he actually, there was a radio station, few years, he graduates and graduating, I guess he's older, about to leave school. And there's a radio station called Kiss, and they're playing Prince, the song Kiss all day, right? And I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're playing Kiss all day. I'm a big Prince fan. So I'm excited. This radio station nonstop the whole day. Kiss the song from Prince will play through the whole day. So the girl I was seeing at the time, she calls me. She says, "Hey, did Prince die or something?" I go, "Oh no, what's going on?" So I started listening to it. I guess at the time this radio station was opening up and they needed people to come in, and they're gonna hire people to get on the radio station. I don't know exactly what was going on, but my brother went over there, knocked on the door, and says, "I'm here." I said, "Here I am." And he started working at the radio station. Of course, he started from the bottom, but that's his start of loving music. That's the part where we just keep going forward, and it just blossomed to him doing club or whatever, and getting big. He's well known over here on the coast. That's what I love about him. He's mellow, he's kind, he they take care of him. And in this business, that's what you have to be. You have to enjoy. You have to be willing to be part of somebody's wedding or somebody's party or anniversary, whatever it is. You need to sit one-on-one and see what they want and just go from there and just master it up, dude. It's like doing
Yeah,
clay. You just make a beautiful, beautiful sculpture, dude.
you remember when
Hello?
he DJ'd my 25th birthday party? Do you remember that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Remember that you're a Beastie Boy fan? A lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. It was just so much fun. And once again, those are one of the parties that if I can write a book or something, I can remember so many parties we did that it'd be like episode, this one will be, first episode, boom, first season. I would have maybe like 8 or 9 seasons like that because just so many things I did in weddings. I remember doing funny stuff. I remember stuff went wrong behind the curtain that wasn't my fault, like the cake falling over or something like that, where it's just interesting to go, oh man, I did a lot. I did a lot. Like that's crazy. But you don't feel that way because you're just doing what you love. It doesn't
Yeah.
stop you from doing what you want. That's the thing. Just this little virus is slowing you down. We need to think ahead to also be successful, but at the same time be careful and watch yourself. So I had a call with the bride recently, and it's like in December, and we were talking, and she goes, "What are you gonna do? Like, are you still down?" I go, "I'm down, but it's really up to you to tell your people to, if you have your grandpa and grandma or your other young guests to be careful. If you social distance, whatever. See, if you guys all live together, you guys don't go out and party and go to concerts and bring it back home, you guys will be fine if you guys are all together. Now, the minimum people they say is 10, but if you do 30, cool. I just have to tell you that I have to protect myself. I'm gonna have a cover on my mic. I'm gonna have two lapels when we do ceremony. I'm just giving her just the detail of what I gotta do for no one to get sick. My part. Now the venue there, that's their business. The photographer, that's their business. It's just interesting that I had never had to do this. Like I never had to be one on one. Not only just talk about your outline and all your songs and who's coming in and grand entrance. Now we
Now
got
you
to
got to
talk
talk about
another step to
safety.
go. We got to be clean. Yeah, about
Yeah.
safety, exactly. Like when you go to these venues, some of them don't have a little red box. You know, if somebody got, you know, whatever got cut or whatever, I trip out on it. Where's your first aid kit? You know what I mean? Oh, we don't have one. Are you kidding? That's like number one. The basically safety. Like I ran a restaurant in the kitchen, ended up being manager.
Oh
I
yeah, I
had
remember that.
the
Yeah.
right there in Pismo. It was called Pierside. It was a great place. I walked in and said, "Look, I do weddings in the weekend. Just work me from Monday through Thursday, and I'll wash dishes."
Uh huh.
Dude, less than 6 months, they gave me a card. I was a kitchen manager, and I was just running the place of the kitchen. But also when it was holidays like Memorial Day, dude, we made like 70 to 100,000 some of those weekends where you were burned out. But the other days were cool, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because it was right on the beat.
Yeah.
So I always had my meetings there with my brides and grooms when they came down from out of town. And that's the thing, once again, these brides and grooms come from out of town. None of them live around the area. And that's Utah. I did from Kansas City, you know, around the world as well, Chile. It's just crazy that this has to stop for me when it's hard. It's not like your regular weddings, like a small town or whatever, or a nice city. This is hard because people have been planning their vision of their wedding, especially the bride, where they want it. And when they
Yeah.
find the place, it's hard to take them away. But look at the scenery. There's water splashing on the beach. Dude, I did one literally maybe like 30 feet away from the sand and then the water of the beach. They put a big tent generator. We partied till like almost 11. All out, dude. I had video of it. And I kind of want to start documenting a lot of stuff so that way I can probably put together something in the future to show what, you know, what I did, just to what I did.
Yeah,
Beautiful
like a
pictures and
portfolio.
the scenery. Just yeah, like yeah, I had a great idea. I was telling my brother I wanna pitch something to like NBC or CBS of called Real Weddings in the Central Coast, where it's an hour-long show, but the last 10 minutes show what went wrong in the show because there's a wedding, always something goes wrong. The uncle could
Right.
get too drunk. I heard people on the mic, you know, sometimes with the groom. Just a short story that he would be like, yeah, you know, me and him were in the Navy, and he's talking about when they're young and 19 or 20, and that's his best man. Just to let you know, that day when you worked out, and I bet you a bet or whatever, and I told you to drink something. Yeah, that wasn't orange juice. Basically, it was pee. But those things are going. Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that?
Why would you
Those
bring
kind
that
of
up
things
right
people
now?
did.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, like, that's deep. Like, why would you say that joke? You know, people always bring up, just don't bring up anything from Las Vegas, dude. You know what I mean? That's the first thing they do in the toast. They'll bring something negative. I go, why you guys do that? Why you guys think something negative? Do something positive. He goes, we can't think something positive. We have to think something corny because we don't. We're just doing having fun. I go, okay, that's your way out. Outlook of seeing now. That's cool.
Hey,
But it's really
let's
interesting. It's
let's
really
talk about
interesting.
let's talk about something else that's greatly affecting you right now. I don't know if you're ready to talk about this, but
Okay.
you should be. I'm very curious how you feel about the Washington Redskins finally changing their
Oh.
name. Now, let me preface this. Say and his buddy Mike Brewer are legit the only two people who I know who have been Washington Redskins fans ever since I can remember. Like ever since I can remember, they've been Washington
Yeah.
Redskins fans, and they have never. These are two of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I've never heard them say anything racially motivated, anything condescending
Right.
to anybody.
Right.
So I know that they just
Right.
love the Redskins the way I love the Dodgers. I don't even think of.
Right.
I never really think of what is a Dodger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um,
Right. Right. It,
how's that?
it,
How's
it
that
just
affecting you?
it's just weird because growing up, I always liked the Native American Indian, the culture. So by the time there was like, what team are you going to be? I couldn't decide because I was like, well, I like the Indian culture. I'm going to be a Redskin fan. not just, even though we can be 0-10 or whatever the season, we lose every season, 1 or 2 games we only win. It didn't matter. That was for me to go. When we do win, I can say I supported this team. I supported. Now, Redskin, by saying it, I really didn't. It's like saying something negative about their culture and their race and stuff. I really didn't see that in the beginning, because why would you make a team, especially when you do your research and go 1932, it was the Braves, Boston Braves, and then they changed it in 1933 to the Boston Redskins, and then in 1937 they go to the Washington Redskins. So it was like, you mean to tell me 80 years and you guys couldn't change it? I ended up finding out when they were actually, the first year they started in 1932, when they were the Washington Braves, they did change the Braves because it was something they did argue about. So they changed it to, in 1933, the Boston Redskins. And I go, but you pick Redskins? I mean, that was just basically the same thing.
Uh-huh.
But once again, as a child watching the team, it's like saying the Cowboys and the Indians go at it. That's going to be
Yeah.
gone. That's not going to happen anymore. And that's the sad thing, because I'm going to sit back and go, hey, I was a Cowboys. I always said, if I win 2 games of the whole season is playing against the Cowboys, I mean, it's just the sport. You want your team to win, and you have friends. You talk junk to each other. The people I wouldn't talk junk to a Cowboy fan if I don't know him, but a friend I would, because he'll
Yeah.
talk back.
That's what you
But
do.
I really can't say, yeah, that's what you do. That's just friends. That's how we are.
And
But I really can't say anything a lot about the Cowboys, because out of actually 20 games, we won 5. You know what I mean? So they always got our number. But I'm always gonna be a Washington Redskin fan all the time, no matter what happens. So I invest in the love of the culture. So I end up finding out that not only the Indian, the logo on there, it's actually a real chief Indian. So I'm like, I don't understand. This is real. Like, this is cool. I don't. I know Redskin is racist and all this, but it's like, how can we go 80 years and finally stop it? And someone that's been supporting this team for this long, it's hard. We have a fight song, "Hell to the Redskins." We sing it every time we make a touchdown. Where's that gonna go?
hey,
I,
maybe
I,
you can
I,
write the new
I,
one.
right. But the thing is, are people going to show up to the pizza place when we all used to get together and go watch it? That's my concern. It's like,
They
how
will.
much of a support, how much support it's going to be. I know a lot of friends are telling me, look, it's a different name with with the same team, different
Yeah.
name. It's going to be okay. Yeah, but I'm just arguing the point of what happened to the Indians and Cowboys. That's not, that thing is gone. For me to get used to it is going to take time. It's just
Yeah.
going to take time to
And,
go, okay, let's get together. Let's make a good logo. Let's not go backwards and put a crazy dumb logo. I'm like, see, this is the whole point of it. This was the whole point. It's like, um, doing this late. If you had a plan, as soon as this happened, your supporters dropping you, FedEx and Sony. I'm not Sony, Nike, all these people dropping you. It's like, okay, you should have had a plan, dude. Like, you're the main guy. This team is worth like 900 million. You should have people right away. Now he's barely firing people. Now there's something happening in the background where guys were, messing with girls and this and that. And I'm like, oh, not another thing. Like, we haven't even talked about our players. We haven't talked about plays. We haven't talked about how we're gonna strategize this season. Everything's just out the door. I'm just in limbo right now. Like you're stuck at the airport. You can't stay there, but you can't leave either. It's like you're in the middle. You ever seen that Bill Murray movie where he's just stuck
no,
in the
it
airport
was
where he
Tom. It
can't
was
go
Tom
nowhere? He
Hanks,
has to
wasn't it?
stay there. Oh, it's Tom Hanks. Oh no, it's probably. Are you sure?
No,
Maybe
you're
you're
talking about the
right.
Bill Murray movie where he repeats the same day. You're talking about
No,
Groundhog Day?
somebody's stuck in the airport,
No,
dude,
Stuck in
and
the
they
Airport.
can't
That was
leave.
Tom Hanks, wasn't it?
Okay, I thought it was Bill Murray,
Yeah.
but no big deal. But it's that kind of thing where you're just stuck somewhere and can't go nowhere. That's how I feel. But
Hey,
my team is like, oh,
and
we're
our
not
buddy
going
Mike
nowhere.
Brewer, he's Native American, right? Now that's why he was a Redskins fan, because he was Indian,
Did
right?
I understand? Did I understand? Yes. Yes. Did I understand? Yeah. He doesn't know what percentage and all that, but he is one. As you can see when you see him, he looks like an Indian,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
could
yeah.
totally know.
His last
Yeah.
name's Brewer. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Exactly. So the first time I met him, it was actually at the warehouse, and that's when the to sell vinyl. So I was an employee, and he goes, "What's your team?" And I had this badass Washington Redskin watch. I didn't even say the team; I just showed him. He goes, "Me too," and we became friends
it was
like
love at first
that.
sight.
It was like we talked about the team. love at first sight, looked into my eyes, you know.
Yeah, you guys have been
But
homies ever since.
I always, I ever since, and then you probably ended up working a couple of years back after that, you know. And then that's
I
when I
know
met
I
you and
started
hung
before
out with
Mike.
you and talked.
You were
Right.
there. You were there, and like when I started working, you and Cynthia and Gonzo were already there.
Right. So who was the manager when you started?
Dave Matthias.
Oh, that's my boy.
Dave
That's
Matthias was the
funny.
manager,
Yeah.
and then Rosalind. No, then Sarah.
Yeah.
No. I don't even know, man. So many
But you're
managers.
right. You were there at those times.
I just
Sarah,
know that
Rosalind,
I worked for
David.
Dave. I worked for Sarah. I worked for Rosalind. I worked for Georgia. I worked for
Oh, that's right. You remember Georgia? You must
yeah.
have been there a
Rest in
while.
peace.
How long were you there?
I was there like 7 years, I think.
Nice.
92 to 99.
I remember sometimes, hanging out after work. Sometimes that was fun too, as well.
Dude, hanging
We
out
always
after
hung
work
out.
was the best.
It was bad because
I'll
what?
never forget. I never get tired of telling the story of remember Sir T. He would do
Yes.
he came like he called, he's like, dude, I'm gonna bring you the new Tupac. I'm gonna bring you the new Tupac. And he dropped it off right when we closed. We closed the store. We went outside to throw the trash and do a couple other things, and then we came back inside, put the CD on, and we cleaned the store for like 2 hours listening to the new
Right.
Tupac album, and All Eyes on Me, listening to All Eyes on Me, and it was like me and like Mike Dunlop, and I don't know, I can't remember who else, but like we
Yeah.
had a copy of All Eyes on Me.
That's a double CD, right?
Yeah, it's the double.
He's sitting on a chair. It's black, and the background it's black, and he's like kind of doing his thing.
Yeah.
Uh, that was such a great CD because in the second CD he puts a lot of samples of old school. I
Yeah,
think
he
he
does.
sampled like Prince, and it was like you don't know that at the time, though. See, because you're listening to it, I end up finding out later. Go, oh, dude, I know exactly what song he sampled. It's a Prince song.
The
The
song that
Prince,
samples Prince, I think, was produced by DJ Quick. I
yeah,
think.
because it was just 97733 or something like that. The song, and this Prince produced it, but I think it's more like The Time does it. I don't know if you know that.
8, 6, 7, 5.
Seven.
Not no, I almost started
No, no,
singing the other one.
that's Tommy. Yeah,
Yeah, I almost
but
started
you get
singing
my
that one.
idea.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what? I always
that's cool. But see, that's why we're getting along. We're talking about music.
I always
Go ahead.
tell people because we're old, and I talk to these younger people who like I tell them like I wish that you would have discovered, because I know so many people who like they discovered Tupac by going back and listening to his greatest hits, or they discovered Sublime by like going back and listening to the greatest hits, or they
Right,
discovered Rage Against the
right,
Machine by like going back and listening to the greatest hits. Like we were lucky enough to hear them when they were
right,
brand new. Like when people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
right,
Like I still remember like
right,
how blown my mind was the first time I heard Sublime, and I was like, "What is this?"
right,
And like we were lucky enough to hear that as something brand new that had never been heard before, and like waiting for the next one to come out,
right.
you know. But man, we got to experience some great music. We worked at a record store in the '90s, and that was a great time for music.
Right. That was great writing R&B wise as well. If you don't know that, it's like a lot of R&B was big, and
Yeah,
then after that it was country.
Babyface,
Like
L.A.
in the
Reid, and
2000s.
Babyface,
Right, right,
Dallas,
exactly. That's what I mean.
Dallas Austin, and all Jermaine Dupri, all of those guys were producing great R&B.
Right. Even watching some of their documentaries, how some people broke away from certain labels. Who was working with Prince? Was it LA or something, like where there were certain people breaking away from certain other people because they don't want to be held down. It's like in a band with the James Brown and you break off and make your own band because you want to do your own thing. And that's the stuff that we experienced. These artists went and did their own thing and they were successful. The 90s was great. I loved it. I just felt like sometimes when I look back at that stuff and those moments, I feel like time flew, but I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Time is going to go forward no matter what. So I was just enjoying it every time we were there, especially when we went to work. Like you would come around and I'm receiving in the back and go, another receiving error. You know what I mean? Just the funny things. And I used to laugh,
I,
go,
I,
hey,
would-
stop.
I would be like at the front of the store, and I'd be like, it's probably a receiving error, and like your head
Even
would pop
error.
out.
But you know, one thing that we're talking about music, because we got, the subject of music, it's like, um, it's interesting because I love it when I see posters of you and you put the whole album and you put it on. And I think a lot of people miss that. You know what I mean? A lot of people like the first time I heard the whole album, it was on CD, but I heard the whole album of Pink Floyd, The Wall was cool. But when I heard Dark Side of the Moon, it was like something I missed out on. And I feel that some people just don't listen to the whole album.
Yeah,
Now, you
yeah.
might not like the whole thing. I can sit back right now in high school and I can tell you the first two albums I bought uh, that I had, I guess I would found them in the trash, believe it or not. It was one of the Commodore's greatest hits. And then it was Black Sabbath, Iron Man on it, and War Pigs. So it was like the
Wow.
whole album though. So it's the
Yeah.
whole album. It's
And
not
that's
like
all
I
you
wait to
had,
listen
right?
to
So
the
you played it over and over.
exactly. It's like those two combinations are way off, but that's music love. Like that's what I loved. And when I see you put it on the record player, I remember when I had it when I was young. I ended up buying records. I mean, whole albums, and then next thing comes is just cassettes. You know what I mean? So now I bought the whole cassette. Like my very first cassette, two cassettes I bought. I told you, you have to remember this stuff. You know, when you buy your first thing, your first album, your first cassette, your first ticket to a concert, your first ticket to a football game, you remember those games. You remember the first time. I totally remember the two cassettes I bought was Dire Straits and it was Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones, Dirty Work, and Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. It
Brothers
has a
in
guitar
Arms.
on there.
That's a
Man, I
great
play
fucking
those
record.
things over. I play those things over and over. You know, so far away from Dire Straits is the very. How do I know? Because I listened to it.
'Cause
My
I'm
next other
tired of
cassette was,
making
believe
out
it or
on
not,
the
was
telephone. Cause
yeah,
you're far
exactly.
away from me. Yeah.
Me, you're so far away from me. But the third cassette I still
Yes,
remember because
man.
it was that good. It was the Pet Shop Boys Please first album, and then right away when I bought that, I went and bought Peter Gabriel's So. So you know, Red Rain is the first song. You know, Divided by Zero is the first song of Pet Shop Boys. I remember these things, and then that's when you just build
That Pet
love.
Shop Boys record is still so fucking.
Every
I
song
listen to
is
it all the time.
amazing, amazing every song. But some people will miss out on that. Now it's a new wave. If you like the new wave and you like old school and oldies, that's cool too. Don't get me wrong, because I have a lot of oldies and old school albums too. You know, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? That's a masterpiece by itself. You know, it's like saying John Legend, um, not John Legend. What's the Beatles? What's his name? John
John
Lennon.
Lennon.
John Lennon. You know, Imagine those kind of songs. That you got to respect them and enjoying the whole album though. The whole album is the key. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. It's
the
a.
greatest hits bring the artist for you to like them if you didn't know about it. But tell someone the other day, dude, I didn't have any sets or albums of John Cougar Mellencamp, and I'm looking through Spotify. What's his first album? And it's tight. Like one of his first albums was in the '80s, and that whole album is tight. But it was not really a single from there. Like in '83, he started doing, you know, When the Walls Tumbling Down and was this it's
The
beautiful.
first album has that and
I was in junior
ain't
high.
done with the night. That's on the first
Yeah.
album. Yeah.
Yes. 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 That's exactly right. Because after that, he does another album, and then it's American Fools after that, and that's like hurts so good. But the whole point about it is that go back and if you heard the single, when you listen to the album, you know, even if it's like Loverboy, go back and listen to the album. Or now it's not like that. Kids don't buy the album; they just buy like the very single, or they download it. They don't even buy it, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
or they listen to it on Spotify. You own it on Spotify, but when that goes down, or your account goes down, or the web goes down, you don't have it at home to listen to like comfortable like you do. Every year when it was Christmas time, when I worked there at the warehouse, I ended up being FYE. Dude, Mannheim Steamrollers was my number one seller in Christmas time
That
because it
album's
just
fucking
brought that
badass.
energy. All and they have like 8 albums, but you pick out the one you like, and dude, every Christmas it's like listening to the first time when I heard Stevie Wonder's Christmas. It was badass. I was like, how come I missed like 20, 30 years? Not, when I finally heard it, going, oh no, I really started doing researches of what albums really like brings everything, because they got to put all their work into it the very first time. So, like, give you an example, the first Cypress Hill album, badass. I mean, it's just every song on there is badass.
Banging,
If you're
banging.
not a Cypress, yes, they were
State,
just
my
on the
favorite song of that.
what? Yeah, well, I think they were in Hollywood, weren't they? And they have a star now in Hollywood, I believe, just
Oh,
recently this
probably.
year, or no, they do, because I seen it on the news. I think it was like 6 months ago. Well, like 3 months before that, I went to go see them, and the opener was Hollywood Undead. They
Yeah,
were
I saw that tour.
amazing.
I saw Exhibit was on it too.
Yes, he wasn't on the list, but he shows up,
But
but
he
you know
shows
he's
up,
got
yeah.
someone's gonna come. And I was like, that was tight. Oh man, did I ever have fun that night? Because I didn't get to drive and I got to do what I wanted, drink as much as I wanted, and do whatever I wanted. And when you're in line, they don't check you, dude. They're just like, come on in. Like, we
Yeah,
know what's up. You know, it's like nice. Like, let me have my fun. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I don't know. It's
You
just
know,
different
you
parties,
know,
different times.
you know what artist I love, and I absolutely give you 100% credit for introducing me to them is Ice-T.
Oh, word,
Oh
word.
my
Like,
gosh.
yes,
I can listen to Ice-T OG anytime, like, and it just anytime I cruise into LA, as soon as like you hit where all the freeways are, I
right.
always put in LA, home of the body bag.
Body bag,
Yeah,
LA,
I
yeah.
always put that in, dude. Every time I'm in LA, I want to listen to that album.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up rap back then, that it's totally kind of different today. So some of the artists I do like, but some of them I just don't. I can't. I don't. I guess because I'm older, it's just different ways where, uh, you know, Snoop Dogg just, I think, came out with a new song, because that's basically what I'm
With the
saying is
Bandai
like,
MR,
that was tight.
it
Have you
was,
heard
it
that?
was.
It was tight. Not for the rap art, not for the fans that love rap, but just for like doing like, when would you hear that? You're never gonna hear that ever, ever. Just, and now if it came out good or not, that's not the point. It's the, when you do listen to it, you gotta kind of go, I get the band, I listen to band, I was banda and corridos and, you know, rancheras and this. And then here comes Snoop Dogg, just like, yo, baby. And I'm like, that was kind of tight. Now, to me, I mean, a song like that, I'm a guy that has to have a good system. You got to bump it good. You got to make it sound good. You know, if you listen to it on your phone, it's not, doesn't bring the same. Like, you know, when I was young, I had a little truck. I had the 12s in the back. When it brings the boom and the tweeters and everything, it does bring a song to life in a sense. I used to
Yeah.
listen to, I hate to tell you this, like the first Two Live Crew cassette, because it had a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
bass. You know, it's
all
negative
bass.
stuff. It was just good bass, good bass. Boom. And I was like, I used to love that. But it's just, music, generation after generation, I think just changes different ways.
Well,
I just, this generation, I do like some rap artists that are out, but I just don't like all of them.
well, that's funny
It's
because
just
like
my opinion.
when you mentioned Two Live Crew, like in the history of music, like they get labeled as the band that was like banned in the USA and that was so
Right,
nasty that they were banned.
right.
But like from a music perspective, dude, they created that Miami bass sound. Like
Yes,
they and they don't get. I mean, I know that like the purists will
right,
automatically give Luke Skywalker the producer. Well, wasn't him, was probably the producer, right? Um,
right.
but they made that sound, right?
Right. See, the thing with the Luke, basically when it started, it was actually called Luke Skywalker and the Two Live Crew, and it got printed like that when it came out. I think it was no more than maybe 2 to 3 weeks or less, where Luke Skywalker, George Luke, he's like, you got to take that name off, and they did. But the ones that did ended up buying it have the cassette that says Luke Skywalker and the Two Live Crew, and that's what I had at the time, and I was like having a ball, not knowing later. I don't know where the cassette's at now. Maybe lost it through the way, it broke down, but uh, it just, knowing that, go, I had a cassette that was, you know, that said this guy walked in the Two Live Crew, and I bought it because of Star Wars. Because see, that's the whole thing, connection. That was like, I didn't know it was gonna be, you know, hey, we want some, and all these crazy songs with a lot of bass, and I loved it. I was
Yeah,
like, oh man, it's interesting because you're right about banning the USA. I think it was like fourth album they came out where they had, hey, we have the right to do this, we have the right to do that. I think that was the time of Reagan's, when Reagan was out. So it was interesting time as well. And music always be that, like, you know, sometimes when you hear old, you really see. I feel that way sometimes when I hear certain songs. I go, that was a cool time. I had fun. Uh, I remember going to the park, and I didn't play rock. I didn't play classic rock. I hung out with friends that were Latin, and we play oldies and old school. But I I always brought the music. I always picked, like, rock and roll gangster, I picked GQ. I picked all these songs that it just has to hit the park moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It just
I think
has to
that's
hit
something
that.
that's something that like guys like me and you have in common, that like whenever we're hanging out with our friends, like we're always the ones that like are in charge of the music. Like,
Right.
and
Yeah,
we
because of
and
this.
I bring that DJ mindset to it. I'll be like, oh, they don't really like this, or like this will
Right.
please everybody, and like this is kind of safe for
Right.
everybody. And I know that
Right.
I know this person really likes Prince, so I'm gonna drop this just for them, stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
totally. Yeah,
yeah,
totally. But yeah, just society, and right now as everything's going, I just pray for a lot of people not to get sick. Going back on that a little bit, and then in the business, just trying to keep my head afloat. And then in my team, there's just a lot of stuff happening to me. My team is no longer, they retired the Redskin name, and they can decide. Some guy somehow bought the trademarks to all these different names, so he wants money for them. So all these names that were coming, he bought the rights for Warriors. I mean, name whatever name we were gonna pick, he bought the trademarks for it. Every single
of
name.
all the names that they were mentioning, you're getting really dark. Like, can you light up your room a little bit?
Well,
Well, it's really dark where you're at.
you know what? Because the sun went down. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Can you see
Yeah.
me?
Of
Okay.
all the
Sorry, because the background, the sun's going down. But go ahead.
of all the names that they were throwing out, what were you kind of hoping for? What was kind of your
Well,
favorite?
they had this logo where it was an Indian, and he had like a wolf kind of covering, and it was called the Red Wolves. And the letters were just like the Redskin, font. I think that would have been a cool name and a cool helmet. It still has like an Indian look to it, like a Native American kind of look. Uh,
Hmm.
we could keep the Indians and Cowboys going still, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. I mean, there's still millions of people could probably disagree with me. I don't own the team. That's the thing. The owner's going to decide. The owner's having drama right now. And I'm like, man, this is not good for my team. And we're only going to play 2 preseason games. I don't know if you know that.
no,
The NFL decided only to do 2 preseason games, and if you live in that city, you'll get to watch them. But if you don't, I probably will never see the watch until the season starts. And how is that going to affect what's going on in society right now? That's going to be the interesting part to try to figure out, and just like try to make sure that everyone's okay if you go see a game. You know what I mean? Because people want to get out. America's about, now don't tell me what to do. I want to get out. I want to do what I want to do. And a lot of people are not understanding that a virus is to kill something. It's not like, you're going to get a fever and go away in 3 days. That's what people don't understand, because they can't stay in. They got to get out. And I
yeah,
think some people are going to come out and get some people sick. I don't want to be the one to get someone sick, and I don't want to get sick. I don't know how you feel about that. It's interesting
yeah.
to know, huh?
I don't want to get anybody sick either. I'm
Right.
staying home. I'm playing it cool. That's why I'm doing I've been doing this podcast for almost a year now, but I stopped doing it because I was having people come to my house and record it. But then I started seeing a lot of people do
Right.
Zoom, and I figured out how to record it and how to upload it. And so now,
Right.
I'm gonna start interviewing my like people that I don't always get to see, and
Right.
I'm sure everybody's gonna be happy to see this. Like Cynthia's probably gonna watch it, like
Oh,
Nydia,
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
all
I
those.
see everyone on Facebook. I keep in touch a little bit just to see what they're doing. But this is going to be the new way. We see cartoons and someone's on the phone, and you can see them in a cartoon, and now it's reality. Now time has caught up. Like, we didn't know that, we didn't, at the time when we didn't make planes, we knew that we could fly because we've seen birds. We just didn't know how we were going to get there. It's just a matter of time. Then we get an astronaut up in the skies. things are going to change. This virus is going to change a lot of things. Hopefully it goes away, but I don't know. Just
Yeah.
interesting to see this.
We'll find a cure. We'll find a cure. We'll
I
get
hope
out.
so.
It's just gonna be a weird year. Well, say
Yeah.
let's wrap it up. My dog wants to really go outside, and I really enjoyed you
No, for
taking
sure.
time
Nice talking to you, man.
to put this up. I'll put this up in a couple of days, and let's do one of these,
Yeah.
and me and you and Michael talk or something. But
Yeah, for sure. And if you want to do it again, if you want to talk again, just send me a text and then I'll log you like we just did today.
yeah, we'll do that. All right, Say, it was good
Perfect.
seeing you, man. Hey,
Okay.
hey, brother, I love you, man. Take care.
Same here, man.
Hey, Say, and saludos a toda tu familia, man.
Same here, bro. Take care. Love you, man.
Yeah, take care. Peace.